The following is a presentation of RaceSpotTV, not on the iRacing Esports Network.
$10,500 richer, two-time NASCAR. Is your 2013 NASCAR iRacing done? It's going to be Humvee winning the race, and it's going to be Conti taking away his first NASCAR 2017 NASCAR Beginner Series Championship to Ryan Loser. Federer is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Beginner iRacing Series.
It's Monday night, it's RaceSpotTV. We are here live from the Tsukuba circuit here in Japan. Fuji, actually, you might actually know this better as, or the location at least, of where it is located. And this time, you can see the track. After last week's rather dark turn of events, shall we say, we're back to daylight conditions here on Monday night. Skippys, Rachel Whiteford, Linus Brostrom as always, and we have Will Vincent behind the cameras as well. Fernandez making up for a very difficult outing last time by putting himself in pole position at the moment, as we still have some time remaining. Simon Edwards, Kane Halliburton, Clay Hughes, Clark Williams, usual suspects all up at the front. Bill Fraser, Linus down in 9th place, qualifying not looking good for him today.
No, he's really been struggling. He's not far off the top guys. It's less than 3/10 back, but it's still only in P9, and on a track like this that is still relatively new on iRacing. He's gonna have his work really well cut out for him, so unless he can improve, he's in a bit of a hole.
He certainly is, and well, we have a 12-corner track here today. Tsukuba is still fairly new to the service, but this track is certainly an interesting one nonetheless. Of course, it's going to be about 1.27 miles in length, and well, we are looking weather-wise at a fairly good race. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit today here in Japan. Based at about 34% humidity. Winds, well, they're from the north, 9 miles an hour, so pretty ideal conditions for racing these cars, and it's a little colder than average. But we also still have to factor in the old classic of Japanese tarmac. Quite smooth, makes these cars a little bit more difficult to handle.
It does. They have a tendency of being very slick, these Japanese tracks, so gonna be a case of hitting every single mark, and making a little mistake can cost you a lot of time here. And as you see, the runoffs aren't that big. It's not very far out to the walls either, so slip off the track a little bit and you might find yourself having to go back into the pits for another car as well. So gotta be on the track the whole time and not make many mistakes.
Probably the best piece of racing advice I could ever take from anybody, Linus. Stay on the track and you can win the race. Love it. But if you are also interested in checking out some of our partners here at RaceSpotTV, check out the Campaign Against Living Miserably. CALM. They're an award-winning charity dedicated to preventing male suicide, which is the single biggest killer of men under the age of 45 in the United Kingdom. Check them out. The link's in our description. Find out more about that very, 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 very good charity. They do a lot of incredible work here. And also, don't forget to check out, of course, Esteban Ballo and his track pack of cameras, which really make RaceSpot pop. They can make your broadcast do the same. Well, let's take a look at our grid order for today's race. And a shock upset at the very last second. Alan Piercy slings it into first place ahead of Fernandez in second. Simon Edwards in third place with Ken Halliburton and Clay Hughes, your top five. Clark Williams, Anthony Jones, S.J. Dunning, Matt Cox, and Bill Fraser in 10th place. James McRitchie, Jack Hobbs, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts with Ethan Bass, Tom Ward all the way back in 15th. Wow. Tom Barry, Ben Daniels, Tony Stack, Darryl Taylor, and Daniel Cook in 20th. Rest of those positions on your screen as Linus. The field of 51 drivers today, all the way back to basically the start of turn 12.
Yeah, 51 cars on a track where the lap is just over a minute. I think we're going to have a case of back markers being caught before halfway through this race, so that's also going to play a big part in the race for the front of this field. And Alan Pearcey, like you said, on pole position, what can he do? That's going to be a very, very interesting point to watch. And also Tom Ward back in 15th. That's gonna be the drive of the race, I think, because he's going to be getting up into the top 5 within no time.
You say that, but he's only half a second back. In fact, our 1 second bracket tonight we always look at is 31st position, 1 minute 2.3. Yeah, so Tom Ward's only half a second back, so it's not exactly like he's doing too badly today. One wobble in qualifying and it puts you half a second back. He's certainly in the ballpark here. This could be an interesting race indeed. Cars all lined up on the grid, getting ready to go tonight at Tsukuba for the first time in the Monday Night Skippys series history. We're going to get this track, hopefully, as a series regular event. Place looks incredibly exciting for these cars. A regular host of motorcycles, and you'll all be very familiar with it from the Gran Turismo series, of course. Engines rev. Sounds like a field of motorbikes, actually. Green flag waves, and we are away. Big run up here, of course, to turn 1, Linus, at the end of this straight. The leaders all diving in there now. And then we have a similar section to what I'd say Zandvoort, perhaps, in this initial part of the run. Big 180-degree first corner, then you've got a very narrow chute leading you down into a couple of left, right, lefts, and into a big hairpin at the bottom of this inset here, turn at number 5. Already, very short lap, run incredibly quickly, but these guys are already pulling through. Some 2 wide action throughout this field. Tom Ward trying to make some moves as well from 15th. We'll see how well he can go. But the front though, Alan Pearcey, shot qualifying from him, just threw it up there all of a sudden, and wow, making things interesting already up towards turn 10. This lap goes away in no time.
Yeah, he's had a really good start and he's keeping the lead, and from what I can see there hasn't been a single contact anywhere in the field, so that's a very, very clean start and a very tight track. And here they come down into the last corner to end the first lap. Pearcey, Antonides, Edwards, Halliburton and Leah Hughes, the top 5, top 6 even, is still as they start. I think all the way back down into P10 this same order as they started, so no position changes yet, but maybe Fahim will get a run here coming up the inside in turn number 1, and he's going to take over the lead unless he goes a little bit hard, and Pearcey's going to get the run off the corner and he's going to keep the lead.
He certainly is. He'll have it back, of course, with that left-hand corner following turn number 1. But this is one of those factors. You've not got as much banking there in turn 1 as you do at somewhere like Zandvoort, with a very similar initial layout to the lap, and that obviously helps you get 2 runs through the corner. Here, though, leaders going to have the advantage, of course, as out they track now from turn 7 on towards 8, heading up towards 9 and 10 now. This kink of 9, not really a corner, into the big 180-degree turn 10, into 11, which, because apparently the kink at the exit of this is a corner. Good on you, Japan. Nice work with the numbering. But Alan Pearcey, wow, just a performance from him today so far. Qualifying and holding these guys back is doing great so far. This pit entrance, though, Linus, and the whole pit road here going through the inside of turn 12, that's... I'm glad we don't have pit stops in this race, because that is a very awkward pit entry.
Yeah, that could have made for some very interesting situations for someone overshooting it. But like you said, we don't have to worry about that here today, and as I see now, we already have a back marker that's right on the end of the straightaway that they're entering, so we could see lap traffic in about a lap or 2 already, and that could play an interesting factor for these guys up the front, who are still running in the same order that they started in the top 10.
Absolutely, top 7 there in a pack with a group behind them, of course. That's at P8. SJ Dunning with Matt Cox and Bill Fraser just behind this group, all the way back to Tom Ward and further. There's next to no separation in this entire front pack of the field. In fact, okay, I say front pack, I mean the entire field. It goes all the way back to about 28th place, I should say, here in the race so far. So that's a massive, massive group of cars. This long turn 12, passing looking like a premium leaner. So these guys are really finding it difficult to locate somewhere to get a line on somebody. Turn 1 looks like the best advantage, but making it work in turn 1 seems fairly difficult so far.
Yeah, you really want to get a run out of that last corner, just like Fahim did now on Piercy. He's up the inside again. Pierce is going wide. Fahim goes a little bit hard on the entry again, though, but this time he gets a little bit of drive off, and they're going to be side by side through the left-right bit. But Piercy will have the inside into the next corner, so he is probably going to hold on to this position once again. Fahim is doing a good job, though, and here comes Edwards on the inside of him, but
he's got him.
Fahim is staying next to him. And he's going to get the lead. There you go.
Nice move there by Antonides. Did exactly what he needed to do there to make that work. Held the outside line on Piercy. And I think there is actually more banking there in turn 5 and 6, Linus. It gives you a better shot as Piercy gets into the back there of Antonides. Coming out of 10 and 11. And once again may have another run back at the driver of the 8. Doesn't get the position there. Moves for Antonides now to the first position. That lap traffic still visible ahead of your leader is going to be a factor in this race for certain, especially once they reach a good knot of cars. But at the moment, Alan Piercy held that for a very long time. I was impressed with the structure of his racecraft, Linus, so far, but Antonides played the experience game there and just put himself in the position to take a, what was 5 corner pass.
He really did. He got a good run off that last corner and then just held on next to him through the outside of the corners. And, well, that's all you have to do. The moment you back out of this, you can lose a few positions as well. You see the train is still all the way back out of the top 20 behind him. So it's still anyone's race pretty much. And Liu still back there in 5th, Clark Williams in 6th, trying to make something happen. But they can't really, because as soon as they make a move on someone, they drop the guys in front of him.
You know, we talk about this being a potential new favourite in the series, but I'm honestly thinking passing is at a premium at a track like this. Perhaps this is somewhere that the drivers will need to learn to adapt to and find their way on this circuit. I mean, these small cars definitely fit the track itself, but we've seen passing being such a premium. I just calculated the corners it took him there. Antonides took from turn 1 to turn 7 to complete that pass. So it looks like all the passing is there's 3 wide behind him with Tom Ward there, who was up in 13th. He's moving himself forwards now, side by side with the 361 machine. That's Jack Hobbs. Got past him, but it seems like passes are a long game.
Yeah, you got to set it up way before you got to complete it, unless you can have a huge run on someone. So not as much passing as we expected, but it's very, very tight. So still a lot of things that can happen all the way around the track.
Certainly are in that lead pack, still snaking together as we go through this one. Antonides holding that line ahead of Piercy. Actually, yes, he is again. Sorry, that's weird. The timing hasn't actually updated because Piercy's still been shown ahead of Fahim. We might have beaten him to the line last time by. We'll see the runner gets off turn 12 again. Everyone running out onto that asphalt surface there. Just strange right now that I'm seeing my timing doesn't seem to be updating. Oh, that's because I'm still in grid order. That's very special of me. I was in I had the entire race positions listed in grid order rather than in race order, which is fantastic. So Antonides, of course, as I thought, leading the race here. As this time I'm making the mistake rather than, of course, it being pitch black out there like last week. No names named. Simon Edwards back in the 3rd spot, looking for an opportunity here. Piercy, though, glued to the back of Antonides as the lap traffic now right in front of these guys. Getting extra close.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. Halliburton makes a move on the outside of Edwards as well, but has to back out. Looks like he might be able to get a run here. Hughes might be able to get a run as well on Halliburton, but they're going to stay single file for now. Maybe try and get the run off the last corner as Antonides is closing up even more on this lap traffic. Let's just hope he gets out of the way here. Otherwise, this could make for some very interesting situations.
Certainly is, as the lap traffic out of the way now for the moment there as they head up into turn number 1. Big knot of cars there, side by side. Edwards in the 12 machine of Halliburton. Halliburton looking like he might get the advantage there. Almost exactly how Antonides pulled it, but Halliburton not able to close that door yet. Here comes Edwards, big slide, but will actually lose the advantage there.
He will. He's actually going to lose down into 3rd. Halliburton completes the pass, moves up into 3rd, and that has let the front 2 guys pull away a little bit. Piercy had a little look on Antonides as well, but he dropped him behind, and now Edwards will try and get the same run off this corner. Oh, Halliburton runs a little bit wide. Here comes Edwards. There's going to be side by side into the last corner. Edwards moves up to the inside, and he is going to get that 3rd position.
Certainly is there, as now into 12 yet again, and wow, we're getting some feedback. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but Antonides doing his best at the moment to try and keep this one back in position, but it's looking like more lap traffic just ahead of him there will be a factor. That's a 2 machine. Mark Murphy actually bottling up Antonides there, causing him a problem as they head now into turn number 5. Oh, the Apex Academy driver definitely almost affected positioning there, and he's still kind of in the way through 5. Definitely the worst place to catch him.
It really is. He's trying to get out of the way, but he's not lifting out at the same time, so he's mixing in with these guys, and so far 4 guys have gotten past him. Here comes the next one, 5th place Leo Hughes, and he's going to stay well wide in this hairpin as well. Let's see what happens. It makes contact with Clark Williams.
Does indeed there. Clark Williams running currently in 7th place. Right now looking clear, but right behind him there, the car of Murphy just now out of the way. So top 7 through about 10 cars past that lap car, and he definitely didn't make it easy.
He surely did not. I would have expected him to move well out of the way even more there, but hey, that's what it is. Not really racing for position, but most everybody got through clean, so see what happens now. He's actually starting to split up a little bit back there as well, and we got a side-by-side, well, had a side-by-side for 10th position, but they single filed out again. So looking back at the front again, Piercy still ahead of Edwards. Edwards is trying all he can though, as Antonides has gotten a little bit of a gap now, so maybe he can start pulling away. If Edwards makes a move on Piercy here, Antonides could be gone.
Certainly could be. We'll have to see exactly how that one goes forwards. As it stands, Antonides out front from Piercy, Edwards, Halliburton, Hughes, your top 5, with Jones, William, Dunning, Cox and McRitchie in 10th place. 10 laps done here, going to be halfway as they cross the line this time by in this first race around Tsukuba circuit here in Fiji, Japan for Monday Night Skippies. And it's definitely been an interesting first part of this race, as positions looking like a premium, Linus. Hard for these guys to achieve it, as it's just... wow, I mean, Tom Ward's already up 5 spots there. He's working his way through traffic, and that pick of Murphy has been a huge advantage for him there. That number 2 Apex Academy car has, well, been helping everybody pass everybody, because it seems to always be on the racing line.
He is not really finding any good spots to get out of the way, and as soon as he gets out of the way, he is in the way in the next corner instead. So Ward up to P number 10 here, and Murphy getting very involved in the racing here, cutting across people. I'm not really sure why. Oh, look at that, he's just caused a massive crash as well with Jack Hobbs, and I believe that was Nicholas Von Roberts as well.
Yes, it was. That was on the run up, I believe, there to turn number 9 and 10, and yeah, side by side there, comes back across track and collides with lead lap cars. Into the barrier they go. That one's probably going to be discussed afterwards, I'm sure, for the races, as we had a bit of contact towards the front there just ahead of Williams. It was the likes of Hughes and Halliburton there, and Jones getting a bit of wheel rubbing going on in the 5th and 6th positions, as these drivers are all looking for an opportunity. We've seen Piercy go backwards 2 spots, as Halliburton has moved himself up to 3rd place behind Simon Edwards. Perhaps Edwards might now have a go at Antonides, and we might see this one open up a little bit more. Passing those super difficult, Linus, but we've seen Edwards and Halliburton both make moves here, so it's possible. As big dive there by the 42 of Claire Hughes up the inside of Piercy, going for a spot as well. Maybe a little bit of damage there on Alan Piercy's car after that wheel rub.
Might be. They're very sensitive on the suspensions, these cars, and Piercy now dropping back all the way to 5th from his pole position. He's going to hold it around the outside, though. Might be able to hold on to 4th, but he's going a little bit too wide, and that's actually going to cost him down to 6th, maybe even P7 instead. So not a very good move by him. But here comes Anthony Jones. Oh, he's actually going to have to back out. He almost hits Lee Hughes in the back there. So still 5th place for Piercy.
Certainly is there, and Antonides doing what he can to push here, but Edwards looking a little closer. Halliburton right behind him now. Bit of a gap open for the first time there. Back to Hughes, Piercy, Jones and Williams leading that 2nd group. So it's our first real separation we've seen on the track here, Linus, as these guys are spreading out. Back news for likes of Tom Ward, hoping to gain spots here. 10th place for him. Looking like an insurmountable climb, really, to get towards the front of that field. Very, very unusual.
It is, but he's done a very, very good job so far. I don't think he's going to be able to get too much further though, by the looks of it, as it's well, still 7 laps to go, so anything can still happen.
Yeah, certainly can, and 7 laps, a long time at a track like this, even though it's just over a minute in length for the circuit. Definitely making things very, very interesting for these drivers. Liking the way this is going in this second pack here. We're seeing some real movement to positions. At the front now, Antonides holding on desperately. He knows he needs race wins to help him get points for this championship run. Not so sure, though, unfortunately, about Bill Fraser, who I think actually might be out of this race. He is. He's down in 47th, 4 laps down. A retiree here, so Fraser defending that championship looking impossible here, Linus. Antonides knows this is his shot. He's got to get some big points because his real competition now, Simon Edwards.
It is, and well, he's right on his tail. Halliburton was there as well. He backed off a little bit, but he put right back up in that hairpin again, and Edwards is right on the tail of Antonides. He's going to look to get a run here coming out of the last corner, which Antonides has been doing very, very well so far. Edwards is actually, oh, I thought he was going to make a move going into the turn there, but he stays behind. Backs off a little bit, goes a little bit wider, and as you can see, Antonides, he gets a great run out of there, and he's going to pull up a gap, and here comes Halliburton. Edwards is going to have to go defensive. Halliburton around on the outside, and Antonides is absolutely loving this because that's slowing them both up, but Halliburton gets a little bit loose, and 4th place is got right up to the top 3 again.
There goes that gap. It's absolutely gone there. Halliburton made an interesting move there, Linus. Going around the outside in 1. It looked a little difficult for him to manage, but it actually looks like a plausible way to pass. If you can get the outside there, you've got the advantage in the next sequence of corners. So you just need to be able to carry that speed through 1, but the lack of banking makes it very difficult to use the outside lane.
Yeah, it really does. You don't get very much grip out there at all for some reason. But still, Antonides was able to hold on out there, and here comes Edwards again. He's going to look to the outside into the last corner. Antonides actually slows down to let him up next to him by the looks of it. That was a weird move, but he's Edwards is dropping in behind him again, and then he's keeping the lead. Here comes Halliburton again. He's going to try and move to the inside. Edwards blocks early though, so Halliburton around the outside one more time. If he can hold it out there, he might be able to get a run down the next straightaway. It's a bit of contact as well between Antonides and Edwards, but here comes Halliburton. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, and we could have a new 2nd place car.
That's exactly what he needed to do. There was a little bit of a rub there with Edwards, but Halliburton does it. Gets that door closed as he needs for 2nd place. Move himself up to the runner-up spot right now. Getting it done exactly right here on the racetrack for them now. As it, yeah, like you said, Linus, that entire front group's closed back up again from that breakaway we had. We've now once again got 8 cars running together, and this thing's really closed up. Ward now has a chance to start making some more spots. If these guys come any closer to him with 4 laps to go, chances are slim, but it's looking possible, as this one is definitely unfolding to be a very tactical racetrack.
It really is, and you gotta set up the passes really, really early. But Antonides seems to be impossible to pass here out of the last corner. He gets the massive run every single time, and Halliburton looking to the outside again. He's going to try and do the same to Antonides as he did to Edwards. He can't really keep the overlap though, but if he can get a run here, he might be able to move up the inside into the next corner. He's really, really close. He can't get up next to him just yet though. He has to back out, and oh, contact behind, and that's going to be a Constantina effect, and everybody's piling up.
Oh yeah, that certainly didn't help things at all in this one. As we had contact a little bit further back there, I believe. Just, yeah, I think that was the likes of Alan Piercy possibly involved in that one. It was indeed.
Wow.
Piercy and the 587 of SJ Dunning there, tangling on the run up from turn 6. As Piercy got a very bad run off the corner, wobbling sideways, gets on the grass, turns inwards as the car loses control, hits SJ Dunning, and unfortunately from pole to the pits, Alan Piercy's race is done tonight there, and we'll count him out of those numbers. Free position there for Tom Ward. Maybe 1 or 2 more, because he's now moved forwards to right behind Anthony Jones. He's ahead of Clark Williams. Move him up now to about, oh no, that's even further than I thought he was going to go, up to the 5th spot here for Tom Ward. He's taken real advantage. The veteran racer there, Lena, has taken massive advantage of the chaos ahead of him to just weave his way through all this tumult and find himself in a great position now, as he's going to be moving up there past Jones, looking at 4th place here.
He's had a really good race, and that was a massive pile-up. Just let him catch right up, and he managed to get around it without any contact by the looks of it. So manages to move past Anthony Jones. I think everybody around him now has damage as well, so that's going to be an advantage for him, and we'll be able to pull away from these guys after that massive little pile-up that we had. Fortunately, it didn't cost too many cars to crash out though. But at the front, still with a 3-second gap now, it's Antonides, Halliburton and Edwards, and it's going to be 2 laps to go this time by. Halliburton moving to the outside again. Edwards is going to get up the inside of him. Ooh, that was really close.
Interesting line there by Halliburton. Came out a bit in the middle of turn 12, and it actually gave him a big speed boost, as he does get a huge run to the outside there. Antonides, can he hold it around the outside? He's struggled in the past. Has an overlap still. Oh, there's been a contact between Antonides there and Halliburton, but Halliburton's still there. Antonides trying to close that door, trying to make sure there's not an option here, but up the inside he goes. Can he keep it clear before they get to turn 7, which gives the advantage back, as he doesn't quite make it. Loses momentum on the outside there. Antonides takes it back again. Experience there, counting for a lot for Fahim, as this has just taken a notch up.
Yeah, Halliburton, he got very loose coming off that corner, and that really helped Antonides. He was able to clear him, and Edwards had to check up a bit as well, which hurt his momentum. Coming down now 1 turn, and then it's just 1 more lap to go. Antonides is going defensive against Halliburton, who really wants to find every opportunity he can. He's looking to the inside, but Antonides slams the door on him, and Halliburton is going to try and get a run again. He's actually going to do it. He's going to move to the inside. Antonides blocks. He moves back to the outside, and he's going to try and do the same thing once again. He breaks really, really late. It's contact, and Halliburton spins. He's going to save it. Oh, isn't it? Oh, it just hits him.
Wow, that just changes everything as Halliburton hits Edwards on the final lap here. Antonides must be laughing in his race car there as his 2 closest competitors took each other out here. There is going to be some serious irritation after this one, especially seeing as Halliburton's continuing, I should say. But look at this, Tom Ward. Yeah, Edwards is out, but can Tom Ward get past Kane Halliburton here, or will Halliburton take a very begrudged 2nd place here after that move, costing Simon Edwards his position? And this is perfect for Fahim, of course, Linus. I mean, for Edwards leading the championship, to win, to him to not finish, for Fahim, who needs the points desperately to win, that is a massive advantage there for Fahim, as he'll come with a huge head of steam through the final corner and under the bridge to win here at Tsukuba. Kane Halliburton 2nd place, Tom Ward in 3rd, Anthony Jones in 4th, and Matt Cox in 5th, after a very crazy last 5 laps where everything changed all of a sudden.
It did. I'm not really sure what happened to Edwards either. It wasn't that big a hit, but for some reason he had to retire his car straight away, so that was a very unfortunate ending for him. Good for Antonides in the championship though, of course, but that would have been an interesting race all the way till the end. Antonides got really, really lucky though, and Halliburton not giving up, that is very, very impressive from him. He could be a force to be reckoned with if he can keep that up for the rest of the year.
I must say, I'd like to go back and look at this incident between Halliburton and Edwards there on that final lap, because I'd really like us to just take a second look at this, Linus, analyse what we're seeing here, and really look at the incident in its own self, because it was a similar case to the previous laps of. And Halliburton's been the one that's done this. He's gotten that high line, and he's gotten very loose. Now he comes in, makes contact with Antonides there, desperate to get ahead of him, ends up sideways, and whips back, and unfortunately collects there an innocent victim of Simon Edwards. But, of course, Simon Edwards retiring that vehicle. In fact, did he retire? No, I think he was disqualified, unfortunately, in that position, but from what he said to us, hit a few times in the rear of the car for 4Xs, and then he got that one from Halliburton. So a bit of a controversial finish here at Tsukuba circuit here in Fiji, Japan. We'll take your post-race results, and then we'll get to the best part of Monday Night Skippys, the post-race show. Coming home with the win tonight for Antonides was 2nd place, Kane Halliburton and Tom Ward in 3rd. Anthony Jones and Matt Cox, your top 5, with James McRitchie, Clark Williams, Ben Daniels, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts, and Ethan Bass in 10th. Anthony Cat even, Dave Kirkman, Adrian Hendy, Tony Stack, Daniel Cook, Daryl Taylor, Stephen Nobis, Daniel Tufts, John McGovern, and Kieran O'Flynn in 20th. The rest of the results on your screen. Well, Linus, opinions? on that incident?
Well, I mean, Halliburton is doing all he can. He's really, really trying. Antonides is not giving anything. Antonides could have been a bit further in, but obviously he's got his right to his line. He didn't do anything wrong. Halliburton didn't do anything wrong. Edwards is an innocent bystander. Halliburton is doing his best to save the car, so it's just people doing everything they can to win, and something very unfortunate happening, unfortunately disqualifying one of the championship contenders by the looks of it. So well, I really hope we go back to this track again next year though, because this race was epic.
Certainly was. And well, we have got your winner to talk to here tonight on Monday Night Skippys. Sophia Antonides. Wow, what can we say? A difficult track. Passing looked to be a real premium, including your 1-7 corner pass you made on Alan Piercy, of course. But your thoughts on the end of that race as well?
Yeah, I'm really sorry that it ended the way it did between Kane and I. I was obviously taking a defensive line going into that hairpin. And being defensive and on the inside, I was trying to hold him out wide as much as I could so I could get a shallower entry into the corner to help my exit speed. But I think he expected me to be a little bit further in, and we made contact, and that ended Simon Edwards' race. Excuse me, because of too many...
We hope you don't have the plague.
Too many incidents. But I have to say, Rachel, I just came today to try and make some points. I didn't expect to qualify any further than the top 10 because I jumped into practice on this track about an hour ago. I haven't turned the wheel here, so I was really surprised to get second on the grid, and even more surprised to get the win because I haven't really raced on this track, so I'm not sure, you know, how it goes. But I suppose I've raced on enough tracks to piece together the jigsaw that is a racing track, any racing track. So I'm happy that I did turn up for this one.
I do want to ask you one critical question before we let you go for him.
Sure.
I really need to know this. It's a very important question. How was visibility today?
Yeah, it was a damn sight better than last week, that's for sure.
You see, the track helps, I believe.
Yeah, we didn't need a racing line this time.
Well, thanks for joining us for him. Fantastic win today at Tsukuba, and hopefully the championship fires have been lit again.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining us. Barry West also joining us now. Barry, wow, this track is definitely different, and a very busy race for you.
Can you hear me?
We can indeed. 20 places gained. Busy race. I think we're maybe having some communication issues with Barry. We can hear him, he can hear us, I believe, or not hear us, I'm not sure. But if you can hear us, Barry, how was your race?
Can you hear me?
We can indeed hear you.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, my race was quite good, actually. Yeah, I just managed to keep it in one piece as well, I think. I don't think I had any touches with anybody, but I'm just so slow. I just obviously not taking the right lines or taking enough curb here. We did it in the Lotus 79 a few weeks ago, and it was an amazing track. That turn, last turn, getting that right makes all the difference. But yeah, it certainly is an interesting track, and with all these cars on there, there's plenty of room, so many different lines, and you just, because you're racing with different people all the time, so you don't know, you've got to follow them for a while to see where the braking points are, and it just slows you right up. But yeah, once we lost the gaggle in front, it was just a matter of trying to keep in front. Had a great little race with Stephen Burden, and I think he just picked me to the line, but I'll take 22 places.
Certainly will. A fantastic run for you tonight, of course, and a cracking race. Season's only opening up. I mean, there's some great rounds coming up, and of course, you were here last week, correct?
No, I was asleep.
Well, I think you were glad you were. Hopefully, did you see the broadcast last week?
No, I didn't catch I was away last week. Yeah,
I'd watch it. It's a very eye-opening race. One of the darkest rounds of the season.
I will do. I heard it was a bit dark.
Little bit, yes. Well, thanks for joining us, Barry. Enough of bashing on Alan. Of course, this one, Alan Patterson, the series organiser, and that little boo-boo. But thank you for joining us, Barry, and everybody at home for watching. Thank you for joining us. Linus and Will Vincent, of course, has been here in the booth with me. We'll see you all next week. Bye.